Earlier today, I announced that we would be taking actions to help ensure that our schools in Tennessee are a safe place for our students and for our teachers. And the events of the last few weeks, particularly the events in Texas, have shocked our country, have caused anxiety and fear and grief and anger, and have created an awareness that there are things that we should do. And while there's tremendous disagreement across this country about what those steps are, we all feel the need to take steps. We agree in one thing, that our schools should be a safe place, that we want our kids and the teachers and the staff to know that they can go to school and come back safely. And I think the state has an obligation to practical preparedness measures to secure our schools, to recognize crisis, to provide an easy way for reports of threats or concerns. Since 2019, we have taken a prioritized practical approach to school safety. We've doubled our investments in school safety funding since 2019 to make sure that we have buildings that have locks that work and single points of entry. Our school resource officer grant fund has put over 200 additional armed school resource officers in schools that were not there before. We've placed a premium on mental health, particularly for our children, with the investment of hundreds of millions of dollars in the Mental Health Trust Fund for kids. We have a firm foundation in our state for school safety, but we must make certain that the things that we have put in place are being carried out on the ground, and that's what this executive order is about. I'm also signing the order today to ensure that we provide the partnership and the resources to districts to make certain that they can fulfill the structure that's been put in place to make sure that school security is prioritized in the same way that fire security and other types of security are prioritized in our schools. This order requires more frequent, unannounced security assessments at every school in Tennessee to ensure that back doors are locked and that protocols are being followed. We can't take for granted the fundamental practices that make a space secure. It requires that new safety school plans and resource guides for parents and teachers be issued with firm deadlines ahead of this upcoming school year. We have to work together to do the small things right and to treat our public schools with the same vigilance that we would our homes. And school safety is a shared responsibility with law enforcement. Just this morning, I met with a number of law enforcement officials from surrounding states all across the Southeast. We talked about, and I communicated with them about our need to work together to share best practices for school safety. This is a shared responsibility with law enforcement. Our new executive order requires new active shooter training standards for law enforcement. Our Tennessee law enforcement face impossible situations, and we want to ensure that they have confidence in their training should the unthinkable happen in our state, because bravery and preparedness go hand in hand with law enforcement. The fundamentals do matter. Our state troopers will familiarize themselves with each school in their district to get to know what time the school's open and what time the school's let out, to get to know their teachers and the administrators. A sense of community is fundamental to a safer community, and we will move in that direction. And finally, I want to speak directly to parents, and I've heard from many parents with a great deal of concern. You love your kids more than anyone. You are the best advocate for your children in this situation. We need you to partner with us. Please take time to download the Safe TN app. This is a space to confidentially report concerns of violence or threats in your school or in your community. The Department of Safety monitors these reports and makes sure they go to the right place for an intervention or to law enforcement, whichever one is appropriate. If something doesn't seem quite right, reporting may be just the difference between a needed intervention or a heartbreaking situation in our state. Together, we can keep schools safe. It will require the efforts of all of us together. We can be vigilant and manage to protect the innocence of our kids. I want to thank everyone that's going to be and needed to be involved in this mission. From parents to cops to teachers to law enforcement, if we work together and implement the things that we have put in place in our state and strengthen those things, and we will be strengthening them over the next months, then we can work together to ensure that our schools are in fact safe places, that our kids can go to school and come home safely. I appreciate the partnership, appreciate everyone here to deliver the message of this EO, this very important message to the parents and the teachers and the districts and the law enforcement and Tennesseans all across this state, that this is a priority for our administration and we will continue to move forward on it. Thank you very much for being here today. Happy to take your questions.